This week, I had the amazing opportunity to test drive the 2021 KTM EXC all-electric Freeride. What do you got here?
This is a 2021 KTM Freeride EXC all-electric dirt bike, water-cooled, which is cool, and battery goes here, and all you do is plug it in. And you get about 2.5 hours of ride time. You can do a full moto on it, and 45 minutes of charging, and you're back in the moto. So they've really set this thing up to be a race bike. Also, training bike. It's a fantastic training bike. 3 modes, and this is your mode selector. Mode 3 is 26 horsepower, full MX, and then mode 1's regen, and you get full recharge and engine braking. So you don't have to, when you're going down the mountain, you don't have to ride the brakes the whole way down, and you get to charge your battery back up. So you get about 4 hours of ride time in mode 1, and you get about 3 in mode 2, and you get about 2 in mode 3, and that's it. 25 horse. Just hang on, man. I mean,
Yeah,
my arms get tired before the battery runs out. Let me just put it that way.
You said it's about 220 pounds?
I think it's about 220, 225. It is a little compared to a lot of trials bikes and stuff, or other electric bikes. It's a little. It feels a tiny bit top. It feels kind of like an enduro bike with a full tank of gas. At first, and then once you get used to that, where the weight is, then you realize that having the brakes on the levers is really an advantage, because you can ride it like a BMX bike. You can take both feet off the pegs at any given time, push yourself away from obstacles. And so if you're doing hard enduro or you're doing any kind of trial stuff, it looks like it's bigger than it should be for a trials bike, but it does all the same stuff because of the the immediate control. And then also you can drive real slow on it, which is the other thing. Makes no noise.
Super quiet. Yeah, having the single chain, it's even quieter than the Surons with the dual chain drive.
And the Surons have that double chain, which I found that if you're going to maintain one thing on a bike,
it's ideal to only have to deal with one thing.
But the nice thing about these bikes is zero maintenance. Comparatively, to say something like this, you're only worrying about your fork oil, and you're only worrying about your preload, and you're only worrying about your battery charge. You're really not worried about anything. You're thinking about the riding more about than is the bike running good? Do I have the right gas in it? Is the carburetor clean? Is the fuel is my TPI working? Whatever. So that's the other benefit.
How long have you been riding it?
I've had this since early this summer. I got it in June.
And you still ride gas bikes too?
Oh yeah, totally. I have 5 gas bikes, and then of course little mini bikes, and I have thought about getting if I'm going to buy one for the kids, it's going to be an electric bike. Definitely, that's the wave of the future. Why would you go any? Plus, when it falls over on them, it doesn't burn them.
Yeah, that is nice. They
don't have to kickstart it. They don't have to kickstart it, and you're always out riding, and you're riding with your girlfriend, or you're riding with your kids, or you're riding with your wife, and they get stuck behind, and you're like, where'd they go? And it's because they're having trouble getting that bike running again or started again. And with the electric stuff, you don't ever have to worry about that.
Yeah, and less maintenance. If you're gonna have 5 bikes in your garage, you don't want to take care of your bikes and your kids' bikes.
Exactly right. And it's really nice. We've noticed that the more we bring it out to places, it opens it up to people who would never throw a leg over a bike, even though the bike is really big and kind of dirt bike size, kind of intimidating looking.
Yeah.
You get people to throw their leg over who've never ridden a motorcycle before, because of the no noise, the no kick starting, and
it's way less intimidating.
And it doesn't make a lot of noise, and it doesn't burn you, and you can pretty much put anybody who's never been on a bike before on this thing, and as long as you're over about 5'2", you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So
have you ridden the Alta and modified Surons and stuff?
I have ridden the Alta. I went to California to look at an Alta Redshift, and it's a beautiful bike, but for no support, it's a little sketchy to buy a bike that you get about, from what I hear, you get about 2,000 charges out of one of those batteries.
Oh.
But you do get 75 miles an hour and 5 modes and stuff. But the battery life is, I think, better on. I'm hoping will be better with this.
How does this compare?
They say 5,000 charges.
Wow.
So, you know, when you think about that in hours, I've already got 20 hours on this thing, and one charge will give you 3 hours of ride time, or at least 2 hours of motocross riding. That's not bad. You know? That's not
and
bad
being
at
in
all.
a company that's going to stay in business, you could just
Exactly.
buy a battery if the bike is still useful after that time.
And they've split the Husqvarna is doing all the small electric stuff, and KTM is doing the big electric bikes. And I believe that's the way it's going to stay for at least the next year or two. And then I believe both brands and a gas will also have an electric trial bike. So from what the KTM guys are telling me, 2023 will be the big year that everything will be full. They'll have 2 or 3 bikes, because a lot of the 2-stroke stuff is illegal in California now. You know, you can't get a sticker to ride any, even the TPI 2-stroke stuff. So they're really pushing in states like Texas, California, that have, you know, heavy duty, you know, licensing stuff for off-road bikes. They'll all be electric here in 2 or 3 years.
For sure.
You know, and you know, cost-wise, same price as, you know, one of those bad boys.
Yeah.
You know, motorcycles are all going to get you for 10 grand if you buy a new bike. You know.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Do you know what the fork is from? Is it from like their 125?
It is actually, yeah, it's from their 125 2-stroke. It's from their. It's actually from the motocross race 2-stroke that they have out, the brand new one.
Okay.
And a lot of the parts are actually off of that.
So suspension-wise, does it feel more racy or trialsy?
It feels racy, and I had to do a lot of adjusting to get the, you know, the forks where I wanted them in the front. The back was like right away, no problem. A couple of adjustments, but this one took a little bit. Mainly because I think they had it set up real soft. They had it set up for a lighter rider right out of the box, and then of course the trials stuff, it's set up for more of a training trials kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it does hard motocross. I mean, I've taken it to Washougal, and it will put lap times down that are comparable. You can race guys on 250s, no problem. The main thing is, you know, you're topping out at 50 miles an hour. So there'll be times at certain tracks that guys will be able to pass you at 60. But
when you get into the tight stuff and like,
it's way better in the tight stuff, because the second you get it pointed where you want to go, all it is throttle. You're not thinking about anything else. I don't have to think about where my feet are, where's my toe, where's the clutch, where's the lever. I don't think about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I dig in the corner, and you have the back brake here, so you can put your foot off and skid the rear like a BMX bike or a mountain bike, and then point it where you want to go, and it does its thing. And that's one of the biggest advantages, is that you'll catch them and blast past them when they're trying to hit second and hit any kind of power.
That's the first thing I noticed, is just being able to stay on the balls of your feet alone gives you so much stability over the rocks.
And you know, you're just adjusting to what the bike's doing. You're reacting to what the bike's doing, right, as far as body position's going. And so it feels like you have way more time to do all that stuff.
Man, it is great. The control is unreal. Oh, it's so fast. It just feels so much more stable and solid than a Sur-Ron, even mine with thousands of dollars of work. Oh, it's so good. You just can't beat the real suspension. I'm on mode 3 right now, because mode 2 I was having a hard time getting the front tire in the air. I could see mode 2 being really nice as like a commuter type thing. It just kicks. This is the greatest. All right, let's go from a stop, gravel, bald, soft tire. I would love to take this thing on the single track. It is unreal. I should bring it back. I don't want to overstay my welcome here, but man, is it great. I should hit the jump real quick. We got a ramp right by the coffee shop. Most places like this say no pit bikes, don't go fast. These, they encourage you with jumps right in the middle of the pathway. It's pretty great. Oh, real brakes. You just cannot make a Sur-Ron this good. Plain and simple. I'll have to add up how much money I've spent on my bike, but it's probably close to this. I should just buy one of these. Man. And it's got all the full-size dirt bike goodies. You've got real dirt bike suspension.
Full on.
You've got a 21 in the front and 18 in the back. The brakes.
It's got a softer sort of trials tire, European trial tire on the rear. A lot of guys don't like it. They'll change that tire out. I really dig this soft tire.
I like it too. That's nice.
It's real grippy. It's great on like super loose stuff, and it's really great on the pavement. Oddly enough, I think that's what they were going for. Is this nice like soft pavement tire. They knew you're gonna be riding this in the city, because you can't not want to ride this in the city. It doesn't make any noise.
And it's liquid cooled too, so you've got a radiator, and that goes for your battery.
Dual radiators, that cools the motor. That's because heat rises, and what they want make sure is when you get done with a full moto like an MX race, that hot motor isn't going to be letting all that heat come up through the battery and shortening your battery life. So that's where the water cooling comes in. But and the hot swappable battery as well. It's four bolts. This battery it's not light, 65 pounds, but if you have a generator and another battery going on the charger, hot swap, and another 3 hours of riding. So
have you ever had any overheating issues?
Never.
Nice.
And fully submersible. I never
also
had a problem.
Very nice.
Yeah, pretty amazing. All the way up to my neck, so I've taken this places like riverbeds and places you would never really take a normal gas bike, because you'd be worried about contamination, you'd be worried about dropping the bike. And this thing, you don't ever have to worry about it, because you never have to worry about kickstart, you never have to worry about any of that. So I'm hoping that in a couple of years, this thing will just be beat up, physically beat up, and still going the way it should be going. Hoping I need some new plastics. And
I mean, it's pretty simple. There's not a whole lot that can go wrong.
No.
Like, you're never gonna have to worry about valves or exhaust issues.
Chain tension, chain grease, headset, and oil in your forks, and tire pressure.
You're ready to party.
And that's also great if you're one of those people who likes to go out and really spend all weekend getting dirty and riding it, and then throw it in the trailer and come back and go to work on Monday and not clean the bike off and go through all the trouble of hosing everything down. This is a good bike for that. You can put it away wet and get it out dirty and take it out, and it runs. It's not like anything else I've ever owned in that aspect. You can just, if it's got a charge in it, you can go rip it. So that's it. 2021 KTM Freeride.
Bada boom.
Bada boom, bada bing.
That's it. Thank you. So in a future video, after I do a cost breakdown of what I've spent on my Sur-Ron, because I think we're getting close to the number of this KTM, like shipped and everything, it's probably closer to $12,000 than it is $11,000. And I'm probably pretty close to that with my 72 volt Sur-Ron setup. So what I'm gonna do is do a full video, cost breakdown, all the parts that I put on my 72 volt Sur-Ron. And then I will do a comparison video between this bike, the KTM Freeride EXC, and my bike. And then I'm gonna do another video of this bike versus the electric motion bike, because I think they're very similar spec for spec, but different enough to where I think there's an obvious winner. So I've had the opportunity to drive both of these bikes now. My electric motion kind of test drive will come out soon, and I'm just gonna compare a bunch of e-bikes versus another bunch of e-bikes, because I think there's a clear winner. And at this point I've driven all of them except for the Redshift, but you can't just go and buy a Redshift, so I don't think that even counts, honestly. So I'm gonna do all these comparison videos and try to find the best e-bike that you can get right now. And this is technology that's just changing
all of the time. So I should be making this a regular series on the channel. And for the X160 video of me turning that into a Sur-Ron X, I'm kind of waiting to see what I actually sell some of the parts for, mainly the battery, and to find the real cost of what it actually would be to make this bike. But I live in the middle of nowhere and no one wants to ship the battery, so it's gonna be kind of difficult to sell this thing because there aren't a whole lot of Sur-Ron owners around here. But when I do, I will make that video. I know that's probably what you guys are most excited to see, so that'll be coming out very soon. But in the meantime, I'll have something out next week on that whole situation and comparing this bike to my bike once I do the cost breakdown on my bike, which I think is something else you guys are really looking forward to. So stay tuned for that.